Hi, so welcome back. I wanted to show you what's going on with the buds now, and maybe we can just take a breath first, breathe with the trees, and then let's take a look. So if you see the buds here, they have opened. So those bud scales, you can just come in really close and see the bud scales that were covering the growing tips opened up, and those preformed leaves of the Rosa rugosa are coming out. You can see the tiny little, I don't know, maybe you can see the tiny little veins there. It's beautiful little leaves. Some of them are more developed than others. Here, these ones are really looking like rose leaves. And let's look at some of the other rose family plants. So here's another rose family tree, the peach tree. And this doesn't look so different, right? The buds are still closed up. The bud scales are still covering that growing tip, protecting it. Peaches are more sensitive to cold. So they don't want to get too cold, and there is still the chance of frost this time of year. So here's the black cherry tree, and you can see the bud scales again have opened up and the leaves are coming out, getting ready to take in some sunshine. So here you can see a blackberry. So this is like the black cherry, something else that was planted by birds. And the leaves have come out of the bud scales. There's a little bit of red tip, and that red is actually a pigment that helps protect young leaves from sun. So it's kind of like sunscreen for leaves. Also, youngest tips of leaves, sometimes you see more red because chlorophyll is expensive for trees to make, and so young leaves don't have as much. Related to the blackberry, here's the raspberry, and you can see there's the red bud scales. So those have opened up and let the leaves, the preformed leaves, come out. You can see all those veins. This is another bird planted tree, so you can see that that's one of my strategies for making a good backyard for wildlife, is let the birds plant the trees and the shrubs. So here is the Norway maple, and you can see that the buds are still fairly closed up, but you can see the different bud scales. It's a little bit more, it's swollen up more. And so there's the larger bud and then the two smaller buds on either side, that opposite growth. And again, you can guess with these buds, what do you think we'll see when they open up? What will be flower and what will be leaf? So I love this tree and the leaves. These are the buds that don't have bud scales. So they're called naked buds because they don't have bud scales. So those are just leaves from last year. And they're such a cool yellow color. This is the hickory, the bitternut hickory. So that color can be an identifying characteristic for identifying trees or shrubs. And again, you can kind of try to guess what will be a flower, what will be a leaf with those buds. So this is another bird planted tree. This is a mulberry tree. You can see the tiny, tiny little buds. Those bud scales are beginning to open up. And what do you think? Leaf, flower? We'll see. So the white-throated sparrows have been hanging out here lately a lot. And part of the reason they like it here is that I leave the leaves on the ground. So people think that they need to rake up the leaves, but leaves on the ground are so important in the winter and very beginning of spring for the birds, because it's also important for the insects. So all these little butterflies and moths lay their eggs under the leaves, and they have their caterpillars developing under there. And you get a lot of food for the birds under the leaves. So if you don't like raking leaves, now you have a really good excuse.